el- elderly people, who are so happy to read their poetry and
Every
very
Sunday.
good poetry.
Every Sunday.
Huh?
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday, every Sunday, every Sunday at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And I think you should all, whenever you can. I think Janata, you came back after quite some time, isn't it? Nishken. Okay, are we
So,
starting?
hello, my dear friends. The art of rhythmical composition, written or spoken for exciting pleasure by beautiful, imaginative, or elevated thoughts, is known to be as poetry. In the words of Emily Dickinson, if I read a book and it makes my body so cold, no fire ever can touch or warm me, I know that is poetry. That's in the word of Emily Dickinson. Hello, my dear friends, and esteemed luminaries and guests. Welcome to the Poetry Fertile Brains, fourth episode of Poets Talking About Poets, Songs of India. As you know, we started this program in the month of September in the honor of Jayanta Mahapatra. The basic idea of this program is to highlight the Indian language poets and their contribution towards the realm of literature and the influence in the society particular. We have four guest members talking about, poets of their choice, of a particular, of the language of their choice. And each member will be given 15 minutes. In the last episode, which held in the 5th of October, Dr. Squadron Tulika Rani talked about Sachidananda Hirananda Vatsayan, a Hindi poet, and Dr. Pragya Bajpai talked about English poet Nisam Ezekiel, and Dr. Mrs. Subha Hariharan Narayanan talked about Sanskrit scholars Kalidasa, and Dr. Tejaswini Patel Dange talked about a Marathi poet Vishnu Vaman Sirvadkar. So today we had the honor of having four poets among us, scholars, who would be talking about, Punjabi, Kashmiri, English, and Tamil poet. And the order is in Santosh Bakaya, ma'am, would be talking about Lalewari Lal Dat. Harinder Cheema, ma'am, would be talking about Shiv Kumar Betalvi. Dr. Janata Ramanathan would be talking about Thiruvalluvar, and Dr. Shalini Yadav would be talking about A.K. Ramanujan. So now it's the time to begin the show. We had the honor of the guest, mentor, who is part of this platform, and she has been with us. So Dr. Rupali Sarkar Gaur, who is a retired professor from Sri Venkateswara College, Delhi University, and she is a social activist as well. So I would request Dr. Rupali Sarkar, ma'am, to begin the show. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute your mic.
Sorry. Yes, so welcome everybody, friends who are poets, and we're looking forward to hearing about the great poets of this country. We start with Dr. Santosh Bakaya. I specially asked her to speak about Lal Ded. I did a program, not a program, one of those, what do you call it, learning material for IGNU. So I had to do it on literature from various Sufi. I did Sufi literature. That's when I first came across Santosh. I came across Lal Ded. I had never heard of her. See, it's how ignorant we can be of our own country. And she's one of the most well-known poets of Kashmir. And Santosh will tell us a lot about it. So let me introduce you to one of the brightest sparks in the literary scene these days, and that is Dr. Santosh Bakaya. Her biodata is so big that I will have to keep it written somewhere. and just tell you who she is. Dr. Santosh Bakaya is an academic, an award-winning poet. The number of awards she's got is unbelievable. She's an essayist, novelist, biographer, columnist, and TEDx speaker and mentor. One of her most well-known TEDx talks has been on the writer's block. Speaker and mentor, she has written 24 books. I'm getting a complex. 24 books across different genres. Her books, Ballad of Bapu, a poetic biography of Mahatma Gandhi, and Only in Darkness Can You See the Stars, which is a biography of Martin Luther King, are internationally known. We are fortunate to have Dr. Santosh Bakaya with us on this significant literary platform of the fertile brains. Dr. Bakaya will introduce and enlighten us to one of Kashmir's best known 13th century mystic poet, Lalishri, popularly known as Laldev. Over to you, Dr. Santosh Bakaya. We really look forward to hearing it.
Thank you so much. And at the very outset, let me thank Rupali Sarkar Gaur and Prasanna Kumar for this wonderful opportunity. And let me also say that you just indulged in a lot of hyperbole. That was just exaggeration. I am just a small-time writer, and I write because I have that passionate streak in me. And then let me confess that I don't claim to know the intricacies of the poetry of Laleshwari or Laldev. And I don't consider myself qualified enough to talk about her works, but let me try. Dil chum Brahman gar gasaha. This is a line from one of her works, which means I'm yearning to go home. I'm yearning to go home, but I cannot go without the help of God. There is life in her poems, there is breath, and there is a state of naked truth. Her works are full of universal small things, and life touches you there, life embraces you. And actually speaking, let me make an honest confession. My encounter with Laldev was through my granny. My parents left their roots behind in Kashmir when they shifted to Agra and then to Jaipur. But to these places, they carried the whiff of home in the form of books and songs. Books of Mehjur, Habba Khatun, and Laldev. That means granny. And my granny carried the works of Laldev in her heart. She remembered all the works of Laldev and had one work ready for every mundane occasion. And you know, sometimes I had a sneaking suspicion that she was making lalwaks along the way. Well, actually, what are lalwaks and what are the features of lalwaks? Waks, as most of us know, wak is a Sanskrit word derived from vakya, which means saying, speech, aphorism, or precept. I remember my father, he was a professor of English, but he had a very good command over Farsi and Urdu and other languages too. And he was very, very fond of reading. And I remember father telling me that lalwaks represent the best teaching for mankind, emphasizing unity, harmony, humanism, wisdom, love, and truth. They are the earliest compositions in the Kashmiri language, an integral part of the ethos of Kashmir or Kashmiriyat. In the works of this mystic wanderer, we find a deep Shaivic content. Laleshwari opposed religious fanaticism and all hollow practices, emphasizing the uplifting of the inner personality. Her philosophy and teachings are reflected in her emancipation, realized through hard practice of yoga. Mere chanting of scriptures is acting the parrot, she reiterated. She never suggested renouncing of household, but the desirability of living in accordance with yogic practice. Let me tell you what my granny told me. I remember my granny and then my mother talking of Laldev. What my childish mind registered and never forgot was they telling us that she moved around naked. Naked. We said, oh, how can you move around naked? And this was followed by a spate of juvenile giggles, and all of us would burst out laughing. How can someone move around naked? Later, when we gained maturity, we came to know more about her. That she left her incompatible marriage and took to the homeless life. Legend, based on the following verse, has it that she went forth naked, dancing on the roads, singing her walk. My guru gave me a single precept: to turn one's gaze from outside to inside, fix it on the hidden self. I, Lala, took this to heart. I, Lala, took this to heart, and naked set forth to dance. This fact, the very fact that she would dance naked on the streets, made her the laughing stock at times. She was taunted, kids pestered her, and a silk merchant once he came to her rescue with the bundles of cloth. Taking 2 bolts of silk of equal weight, Laldet placed one on each shoulder and went along her way. As she walked on, each time someone made fun of her, she tied a knot in the cloth on her left shoulder. Each time someone praised her, she tied a knot in the cloth on the right. At the day's end, she returned to the merchant and asked him to weigh the bundles again. She thanked him for his earlier concern, but also pointed out that as he could see her himself, nothing had changed. With the blame or praise came her way, the bundles remained equal in weight. So this dancing naked was a state of ecstasy, a state of unshackled liberation. She danced like the dervishes. And this best known spiritual and literary figure of Kashmir, Lalewari, has been respected, venerated by both Hindus and Muslims within Kashmir. And I don't think there is a single Kashmiri who has not heard of Lal Ded. Ded means granny, granny Ded, or Lal Merj. Merj means mother, whose full name was Lalewari. She is held in great love and respect by the masses in Kashmir. And she also had a great influence on saints. In fact, her near contemporary, the Islamic Sufi saint Sheikh Nuruddin, or Nand Rishi, as he came to be known, was deeply influenced by Lal's teachings, and the order he founded came to be known as the Rishi Sufi order, representing the communal harmony which Kashmir was once famous for. Lal Ded herself did not found any movement or order of followers. She came and went alone, a wanderer. Her message aimed at the redeeming of the individual soul. People began to seek her darshan. Lal Ded's love of solitude was compromised by the ill will in her house. So I would just like to recite a few lalwaks. And as I said earlier, I just had a scene and I'm not feeling too well, but just a few lalwaks. I have seen an educated man starve, a leaf blown off by bitter wind. Once I saw a thoughtless fool beat his cook. Lala has been waiting for the allure of the world to fall away. I might scatter the southern clouds, drain the sea, or cure someone hopelessly ill, but to change the mind of a fool is beyond me. I came by the public road, but won't return on it. On the embankment, I stand halfway through the journey. Day is gone, night has fallen. I dig in my pockets, but can't find a cowrie shell. What can I pay for the ferry? I, Lala, entered the gate of the mind's garden and saw Shiva united with Shakti. I was immersed in the lake of undying bliss. Here in this lifetime, I have been unchanged from the wheel of earth and death. What can the world do to me? As we all know that she was born in the early 1300s, and her walks and verses and sayings suggest an early education in her father's house and eventual marriage into a Brahmin family of Pampur. And legend also has it that she received a very harsh treatment from her husband and mother-in-law, who would beat her up for small errors and not give her enough food. And she would just watch those people having sumptuous dishes, and then she would yearn for those dishes. And 12 years after marriage, she left her home in order to dedicate herself to Shiva and became a wandering religious singer. And her poems and songs concern the longing for God and the joy she finds in the deity who lives within, as well as a disregard for conventional forms of worship, such as image worship. Temple and image, the two that you have fashioned, are no better than stone, she often said. She was in the habit of going to the nearby river each morning. But she would cross the river secretly, maybe by ferry, and go to the Shiva temple, which was situated on the far bank. And her mother-in-law noticed that, and she started casting aspersions on her, suspecting her of infidelity. So rivers in Indian lore are believed to be the site of clandestine trysts. Lal's husband's ire was triggered by his mother's suspicion, and one day, when Lala entered the house with a pot of water on her head, he struck it with his staff in a fit of violent jealousy. The earthenware jug shattered, but the water remained frozen in place atop her head until Lala had poured it into the household containers. She tossed a little leftover water out of the door, where it formed a miraculous lake. It is said to exist in the early 20th century, but is dry today. I think 15 minutes are over. Are they? Are the 15 minutes over?
Ma'am, we got 5 minutes left.
5 minutes left. Okay. I'll just shorten this. Not much is known about her age when she died. Some say that she was 72 when she died, and there is a shrine of Lal dead along Bij Bihara village. Legend has it that she was singing some verses when a crowd gathered, and on finishing, she climbed into a large earthen pot and pulled another huge pot over her head. When she did not re-emerge, the spectators separated the two containers and she had vanished. It is not clear whether she was cremated or whether, according to the Hindu tradition, or buried according to Muslim tradition, but her own walk speaks for her. Alike for me is life and death. Alike for me is life and death. Happy to live, happy to die. I mourn for none, none mourns for me. And in one of her verses, she says, I, Lala, find a way in search and chase. With full intent, I approached him. I tried to see him. I tried to see him, but the doors were latched. Unbendingly, I lay there with watchful eyes, with watchful eyes. And then, of course, the famous Lalewari, which is on everyone's lips in Kashmir, be it a Kashmiri Pandit family or a Kashmiri Muslim family, Dilichum Brahman Ghar Gasaha. My heart is yearning to go home. My heart is yearning to go home. So Lalewari resides in the heart of every Kashmiri, and she talks not just of intellectual issues, but of small everyday things. And as I said earlier, there is breath in her poems, there is life in her poems, there is soul in her poems. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Santosh. It's so revealing and so enlightening to hear this because, as I said, we hardly hear of these poets. People don't talk. Delhi University, for example, has a book for the first year English where all the poets are male. I realize there's no female poet at all. So it's very interesting that we should know. And this taking off of the clothes, the walking around naked, you have Mahadevi, Akka Mahadevi from Karnataka. She's a Kannadiga, and she also had a bad marriage, and she moved out. Mirabai too. You see that women poets are people who have left their homes because they were ill-treated by their spouses, but this taking off of the clothes and walking naked. Akka Mahadevi, for example, walked totally naked like Lal did. In the 12th century, she walked into a room where there were great philosophers and all were debating and so on. And she said what she had to say and walked out. And nobody could say a word to her. So taking off the clothes is a way of shedding all bondage.
Yeah, all bondage.
Yes, and women do that, and some of the, imagine 12th century, 13th century, we must read, thank you, because Santosh, now you make us read about Lalden more. I think all of us will
And
want
also,
to know more about her. And the particular structure of the poetry, that she used. What is it called exactly? How do you pronounce it?
Lalewak. Wak means utterance. And my
Wak,
granny
okay.
each and every wak. And of course, she was also very naughty. She would create her own waks and say they are lalwaks. Waks.
Okay, can you read in Kashmiri? Can you recite a line in Kashmiri?
This is the line.
The line.
Dil chum Brahman ghar gasah. I yearn.
Okay.
This is just one line. Dil chum
Okay. Thank you so much. And despite the fact that you were not feeling well, you were so spirited about your presentation. Thank you so much. We will let you off if you want to go and rest. You're most welcome.
And excuse me. And thank you again for inviting me. Thank you so much.
We call you again for something else.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for introducing that wonderful poet. I mean, Yogini, maybe I think put it as. Let us move. Let me take the honor of introducing our next guest, Dr. Harinder Cheema. Dr. Harinder Cheema is an internationally renowned, versatile poet, writer, novelist, author, translator, anchor, educationist, editor, motivational speaker, and a Nazi Naman laureate. Dr. Cheema will be talking about Punjab's great poet Shiv Betalvi. He was an Indian poet, writer, and a playwright of Punjabi language, and he was the most known for his romantic poetry, noted for its heightened passion, pathos, separation, and love's agony. He was popularly known as King of Pathos. He became the youngest recipient of Sahitya Academy Award in 1967 for his epic verse play Luna. So I would now welcome Dr. Harinder Cheema ma'am to address the question. Thank you. Ma'am, please unmute your mic. Ma'am, please unmute your mic. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Yeah, something's gone wrong with my video now.
It's okay.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. But it is tilted to,
No, can you see me?
Yes, we can see you, but it's tilted to the, kind of, vertical mode.
Okay, but what's gone wrong? I don't understand.
It's okay, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay. All right, anyways. Greetings, everyone. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to dear Prasanna and dear Rupali for having me here. It really feels wonderful to be here. And I would, in the same breath, congratulate you for this great initiative. I really feel that you're doing a great service to mankind and to literature through your program, through your platform, The Fertile Brains. And especially a program like this one, where the contemporary poets are talking about the legends. because not only the contemporary world, but also the posterity would know how poetry evolved and learn about some great voices in Indian poetry from different parts of the country. I truly feel very fortunate to, as a contemporary poet, speaking about a legend whose name is mentioned in the history of Punjabi poetry with great respect and reverence. Yes, I'm going to talk about the great poet and writer, Shiv Kumar Betalvi. Shiv Kumar Betalvi is an Indian poet and writer who took Punjabi poetry to a spectacular level. And I fell in love with Shiv's poetry as a young girl. If I have to share my experience with you, I have to travel back in time. My father has always been a great influence on me. And it was he, a lover of literature and poetry, who was very, very fond of Shiv Kumar Betalvi. And fortunately, Shiv's poetry was available in those times in the form of popular songs. And he used to get the cassettes and records at home. And whenever Shiv's poems or poetry or songs were played at home, something touched me deeply inside. Though the diction was not very clear at that point of time, and I used to go to my father and ask meaning of different words. And when he used to interpret and explain those things for me, I used to feel awestruck, completely wonderstruck. So that magic Shiv has with his, can create, Shiv created with his pen. So Shiv, before I go on to tell about his poetry, I think it's imperative that I talk about his life because both are interconnected. Shiv Kumar Betalvi was born in Barapind in Pakistan in 1936. The family migrated to India. He studied in Batala in Punjab, but he died very young at the age of 37 in 1973. So though Shiv had a very short mortal span, but he lives immortally through his verses, and he is known as the John Keats of Punjabi poetry, majorly for two reasons. Firstly, because he was a great romantic poet, and secondly, he too died young, like John Keats. So Shiv Kumar Betalvi's poetry is noted for its heightened passion, pathos, lover's agony. He was the youngest ever recipient of Sahitya Academy Award, which he received in the year 1967 for his epic verse Luna. And again, he was the proud recipient of Padma Bhushan. Rarely a soul like Shiv visits this earth. Shiv celebrated love and put it on a pedestal. He celebrated dejection too. Shiv writes with a pen of pain and is popularly called Birha da Sultan, or the king of pathos. It is very well known that Shiv Kumar Betalvi was deeply in love with Anusua Singh, the daughter of Punjabi literary giant Gurbakh Singh Pritlari. But Shiv's is a story of unrequited love. In one of his interviews, he denies that he became a poet out of dejection and love. But his verses tell a different story. If a writer falls in love with you, you can never die, is a quotable quote by American author Mick Everett. So Shiv's lost girl love lives in the consciousness and minds of people who have read Shiv. एक कुड़ी जिदा नाम मोहब्बत गुम है, गुम है, गुम है. साथ मुरादी सोनी फब्बत गुम है, गुम है, गुम है. And another of his poem. What is he saying in this poem? A girl whose name is love is missing, missing, missing. Another of his poem which he dedicates to his lady love. Menu tera shabab le baitha, rang gora gulab le baitha. Kinni biti te kinni baki e, menu eho hisab le baitha. Menu jad bhi tusi o yaad aaye, दिन दिहाड़े शराब ले बैठा. चंगा हुंदा सवाल ना करता, मैनू तेरा जवाब ले बैठा. He begins with the lines that your breathtaking beauty has ruined me, and ends with the lines that your rejection has completely ruined me. So Shiv did try to go on with his life. He married a girl named Aruna, who was extremely supportive and a wonderful person. He was blessed with 2 children. He wanted to go on with his life, but his inner demons kept troubling him throughout his life and finally knocked him out of it. In fact, some people say, or it is evident from his poetry, that Shiv had a strange premonition of his death, which is evident from his poetry like Menu Bida Karo, Bid Me Farewell, or Asa Ta Joban Rutte Marna, Mur Jana Asa Pare Parai. Joban Rutte Jo bhi marda, Ful Baneja Tara. Joban Rutte Ashik Marde, Jahan koi karma wala. He says, I want to die young. And only fortunate people or only lovers die young. So you can feel the pathos even if you are not love or even if you have not suffered in love. And here I'm reminded of another quote by British novelist Lawrence Durrell, who says that there are only 3 things to be done with a woman. You can love her, you can suffer for her, and you can turn her into literature. And Shiv did all the 3 things with his lady love. So he married, he was blessed with children, but Shiv was a different man, as he confesses in one of his interviews that when Shiv says that every intellectual is dying a slow death, perhaps he said that because intellectuals are blessed with purity of thought and sensitivity of soul. And so they cannot tolerate the wrong that is happening around them. And Shiv was one of them. And in one of his poems, he's appealing to his lady love, as if he can feel the impending death. He just appeals to her to come and visit him once. Os kudi nu meri saun hai. Os kudi nu apni saun hai. Os kudi nu sab di saun hai. Os kudi nu jag di saun hai. Je kithe paddi sundi hoਵੇ, ਜਿਉਂਦੀ ਜਾਂ ਉਹ ਮਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੋਵੇ, ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਆ ਕੇ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਵੇ, ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਜੀਆ ਨਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਗੀਤ ਕੋਈ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਨਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ. So he appeals to his lady love to come and meet him once. So such is the magic of Shiv, who was a literary genius, was and is a literary genius. Also, if I feel that all his verses came out of a bleeding heart. especially when I think of lines like मैं कंडियाली थोर ओ सजना उगी विच उजाड़ा ना किसे माली सिंजिया मैनू ना कोई सिंजना चाहे. I'm a cactus growing in the barren desert. No gardener waters me and no one wants to do it. Or my ni mai, मैं एक शिखरा यार बनाया. Oh mother, I made the bird of prey as my friend who feeds on my flesh. Such was the pain of the rejection. If I talk about his diction and imagery, Shiv's diction was vast, encompassing words from Arabic, Persian, Hindi, and his imagery was woven with elements of nature and Punjab's rural scene. Shiv is a poet who is celebrated on both sides of Indo-Pak border. His songs are popularly sung and have been sung by great singers like Mahinder Kapoor, Jagjit Singh Chitra Singh, Diljit Singh Dosanjh, and on this side in India, and across the border by Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, Abida Parveen. And even today, his songs are so relevant. In fact, I feel that love fell in love with itself when it was so beautifully and aesthetically treated by Shiv in his poetry. And I would just like to give a tribute to Shiv before concluding my talk, that love, I think, has lost its sheen since Shiv has left. So I want Shiv to come back again. And this poem is more of an urge, an appeal. Shiv, you need to come again. Love today has become mundane. Love is no more innocent now, like it was in your days. It is difficult to find true love in the love masquerade. You celebrated love in your poems, and you celebrated dejection too. I see a different shade of love now. I see hearts of blue. Shiv, only you could feed your own flesh to the bird of prey. Come hither to the mortal world, Shiv, before love turns black or gray. So thank you so much for having me here. It was wonderful, a great honor. And once again, thank you, Kumar Prasanna. Thank you, Rupali, for having me here today. God bless.
My God, thank you so much, Harinder. You know, Shiv Kumar Betalvi, as a Punjabi poet, was known to me, but I hadn't really, I mean, you have done a great tribute to him, for which this program actually has been made, that we give our tributes to the great poets of this country. In one of the segments, Dr. Poonam Sood from Delhi, she spoke about Amrita Pritam,
Okay.
the age difference is tremendous because Shiv Batalvi died very young. But to
Yes.
quote Shakespeare from King Lear, it is not coming hence, so going there that matters. Ripeness is all. And I think Shiv Batalvi, did everything that a man had to do when he was a very young person. Imagine getting the Sahitya Academy Award, he got the Padma Bhushan. But
Yeah.
this great longing, and it's better to have loved and lost than never to have
Never
loved
have
at
to
all.
love at all. True, true,
True.
true.
And it is the saddest songs. The best songs are the saddest ones. But that
Yeah.
kind of karuna, the kind of karuna that you see in his poetry, and you've done such a great job of it this evening, Harinder. You've
Thank you
really
so
brought
much.
him out the
Thank
way he is.
you.
I heard about him. I read a bit, but apne Punjabi mein, Punjabi is such a beautiful language, such a beautiful language, and I think it's a language of love. Punjabi
Yes.
is a language of love.
Yes.
It's really is. Thank you so much. I mean, I
Thank
could go on and on, but I don't want to take up time
you.
because Prasanna is already weeping. But you are superb. You were superb, and I want you
Thank-
back here again.
Sure,
Thank you so much.
sure. My pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
We're really moved. We're really moved.
Thank you.
Next, Dr. Jan.
So we move on to our next poet. That is Dr. Janata Kumari. She's an academic, researcher, and an award-winning poet, critic, translator, short story writer, and columnist. She's a recipient of the Women's Award 2021 by Writers Capital Edition, Athens, Greece, the Best Researcher Award from the University of Malaya, Malaysia, the Hridaya Kumari Memorial Award for Creative Writing, Kerala, and the Bharat Sevak Award, New Delhi. Today she will speak on Thiruvalluvar, the Tamil poet and philosopher who lived in ancient Tamil Nadu region of India. He's famous for his work called Tirukural, a collection of 1,330 couplets that cover various aspects of life, including ethics, morality, and virtue. Thiruvalluvar's work has had a profound impact on Tamil literature and is considered a guiding light for people for seeking wisdom and enlightenment. You cannot contain a poet in any region. The poet belongs to everybody. So thank you so much. Welcome you to speak on your favorite poet and ours too.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me first acknowledge and appreciate Prasanna ji and Rubali ma'am for conducting such a different program, so that the forgotten writers will be brought to our memory or brushed from our memory. And so we are all happy to be with our classic legends here. And I'm so happy to speak about Thiruvalluvar because Thiruvalluvar belong to our place, Tamil Nadu. And it is a rare privilege for a person like me to speak about such a classic poet. And Thiruvalluvar is also known as Valluvar and is a revered Tamil poet and philosopher, believed to have lived around the 1st century. That is, all the critics and the scholars, those who have done research on Thiruvalluvar, they say that he belongs to 5th or 6th century, between 5th or 6th century. And his profound influence on Tamil literature, ethics, and spirituality is still even felt today. Because we in Tamil Nadu, all the students, those who are studying from the primary school till the college, they have Tirukural as in their curriculum. We have to by heart Tirukural. So it's just like we are reading our scriptures, we read Tirukural and we start growing. And so it's been Bharadiyar and Bharatidasan, the two great Tamil poets. They have also what is complimented Thiruvalluvar as in Tamil, I may say, Valluvan Thannai Ulaginukke Thandu Vaanpugal Konda Tamil Nadu. So Tamil Nadu has attained glory because Valluvan has been born in our land. And Bharatidasan said, Valluvane pettadal pettade pugal Tamilagam, Vayyagame. So because Valluvar was born in Tamil Nadu has gained the glory. So both the same, because it completely explicitly says about how Thiruvalluvar is great and still being revered today. And his magnum opus is Thirukural, a collection of 1,330 couplets or verses divided into 133 chapters, which tackles various aspects of human life, including ethics, morality, governance, love, and spirituality. So this Thirukural has been hailed as the masterpiece of Tamil literature and a comprehensive guide to a virtuous life. So he has also written, apart from Thirukural, this is the magnum opus and this is the whole solid work Thiruvalluvar has written. But apart from this, he has also written 2 books on useful for that's medicinal values and Jnana Vettiyan and Pancharatnam. And also 15 other Tamil texts have been attributed to Valluvar, namely Ratna Sihamani, Karpagam, Nadanda Thiruvalluvam, and Nadantha Thiruvalluvar, and also because in Tamil when we write it, I just confuse the names. And so Moopu Guru, like this 15 books were also credited to Thiruvalluvar's writing over. And when we talk about Thiruvalluvar, the whole people, the whole universe, they know about Thirukural. And Thirukural just come to their mind. And his life and his life backgrounds have been recorded or have been interpreted by different biographers and biographers in different strata or different time period. But we know that Thiruvalluvar, it has been assumed or believed, because there are no what we can say actual genuine records there. Believed that he was born in Mylapore, that is in the neighborhood of Chennai, and he has his birth also that has a lot of connotations and interpretations. They say that Thiruvalluvar belonged to some Paraya family, a weaver family, and he belonged to a Vellala family, he belonged to a Brahmin family. But yet he has been, when all these discussions, deliberations were going about Thiruvalluvar right from that BC till the present scenario, we know that he has been long has been venerated as a great sage, and his literary work is considered as a great classic of Tamil literature. And Thirukural, this primary work of Valluvar, as I told, that 1330 verses, and chapters are 133 chapters there. And the great highlight of this Thirukural, or something which is rare we see in the writers, or this, all the couplets or all the verses have 2 lines. That is, in Tamil they say yes, Iredi Venpa. Iredi Venpa. That is also another feature not seen in any other poets, is that all these 1330 verses have 2 lines, and these 2 lines at the top the first line 4 words and the down 3 words. And but it's very difficult for a writer to write the same pattern throughout the 1330 verses. And we know that the first 38 sessions are on moral and cosmic order, because these have 3 categories: Aram, Porul, Enpam. Aram, that is how we have to lead our life with virtual qualities. Porul, how we have to earn money, and materialistically how we have to support our family. And Enpam, that is completely devoted to love, romance, with family ties and other things. So that's what we call as the 38 sections on Aram, 70 about political and economic matters and other in Porul, and 25 are about pleasure, that is about Inbam, and that is also told as Kama and love and romance. So when we talk about, because of the time constraint, I'm not going to deal with that in detail, because we have to deal a lot about Thiruvalluvar. And so this Thiruvalluvar, this book, I'm talking about only this magnum opus. This book has been translated into 42 world languages, and also 57 different renderings have been in English itself is alone there. And there are many English translators. There are few I can name out are Satya Jnana Sabai, VVS IS Sundaram, M. Dias, and G.U. Pope is considered. G.U. Pope's translation is considered to be the most important one, significant one. And this G.U. Pope's translation is being included in all our academic curriculum. Even now we teach select verses of Thiruvalluvar in our classes also. And there are Malayalam translators also, Purushottam, Vijayan, Ayappa Panikar, Jay Kumar, and George. And one of the translators is my husband's brother-in-law, Malayalam translation, Dr. S. Rameshan Nair. And now he's no more. He's the Sahitya Academy winner of Kerala. And he was a well-known, the Malayalam writer of all the Malayalam translators, he is the one who has followed the 4 words, 3 words, and the same paraphrase for Thirukural also. And also when we say Thiruvalluvar Malai, that was the book that has been compiled by so many editors. There they speak about Thirukural, Thiruvalluvar, and how Thiruvalluvar, to which religion Thiruvalluvar belonged. But there is, of course, he belonged to Hinduism, but people and the critics, they interpret that he is a Shaivite, he is a Jainism, he belongs to Jainism, Buddhism. But this Thirukural book, it of course gives renderings of all the religions. How? Because this is not, it is not a bhakti book, it is not a scripture, but it is a book which tells us with virtues or how we can lead a meaningful life with knowledge, love, and everything. And also we can say about, most of the scholars, they believe that because he was born in Mylapore, some of the scholars or some of the research critics, they believe that he was born in Kanyakumari district, near Tirunainar, near my place. And that's why they wanted to erect a statue for Thiruvalluvar in our place too. And then, so in 2005, a 3-member team from Kanyakumari district, that is, they belong to the Historical Cultural Research Center, claimed Valluvar was born in our district, Tirunainar. So they were, because it is called Valluvanadu, our place is called Valluvanadu, and so they erected a statue in Kanyakumari, and it was very famous. And I invite all of you to come here also to stay with us to see that gallant, beautiful statue also. So now we have to say that why Thiruvalluvar is being held high esteem, and why Thirukural is being still followed as a document for our a lesson for our life. Because Thiruvalluvar's profound wisdom, literary excellence, humanistic values he had always in his mind, cultural integration, these, and also enduring legacy, these all have been reflected in his work. And that's the that is the worldly standard, that's the highlight of Thirukural, that has been translated into various languages. Still in 2023, it has been again translated into Danish, and also 23 also it has seen, Thirukural has seen 3 translations till this October. And so in the introductory chapter of the chapters of the Quran, Valluvar cites Indra, the king of heaven, to exemplify the virtue of conquest over one's senses. Similarly, a Tamil scholar, he says that Thiruvalluvar, as a Hindu by faith, but he's a Hindu by faith, but he writes for Christianity, Jainism, Zoroastrianism, or Islam, anything. Because we can never deny the greatness of Thirukural and how it has been acknowledged by the whole. I can say that this is a secularistic, the book which fosters secular spirit. And Valluvar also has mentioned God Vishnu in the couplets 610 and 1113, Goddess Lakshmi. And these all tell that maybe Thiruvalluvar is a Vaishnava. But at the same time, Shaivas also characterize, and they say that Thiruvalluvar has given in, I think, 408, 519, he was talking about Lord Shiva. And even in some of the Shiva temples, we could see Thiruvalluvar statue is also kept there. And then 4 minutes left. Okay, then I'll go fast. So there have been temples for Thiruvalluvar elsewhere in Tamil Nadu, in Tiruchuli, Arappukotte, Virudunagar district, and also Periya Kalayamputtur, Tondi, Kanchur Tandapandi, Senapati, and Bilvarani. All these places we could see temples for Thiruvalluvar. And also memorials were built in Chennai, Valluvar Kotam, and this has been built according to the Dravidian structure. And the auditorium is we can accommodate 4,000 people, and so many. Our statue in Kanyakumari is 133 feet tall, representing each chapter. And I don't want to go into. And music also, all the Thirukurals have been that is composed by Dandabani Desigar for Carnatic music, and Chitraveena Ravikiran and Mayuram Vishwanatha Shastri. These people have composed music for 1,330 couplets, and also very famous music composers also do. And so why Thirukural is even applicable today? Because of its ethics and moralities, its governance and leadership, and also for the family and relationships, education and knowledge, self-discipline and self-control, social responsibility. But when we take about for this, some Kurals for education, they say that education is the true wealth. Those who possess knowledge truly live. All else is mere existence. That is in Tamil. I don't go for Tamil translation. And another, and this is for education. Another one, we can say that when family is harmonious, it leads to prosperity and knowledge. In a disunited family, there is no joy. He talks about family there. And then when we talk about various virtues, For those who lack virtue and strength, this world is of no use. Virtue and strength are the greatest assets one can possess. And overall, Thiruvalluvar's greatness lies in his contribution to literature, philosophy, and moral fabric of society. Thirukkural continues to be cherished as a timeless masterpiece that provides guidance on leading a righteous and fulfilling life. And when we talk about Thiruvalluvar, and we in Tamil Nadu, we host a lot of festivals for Thiruvalluvar. Even during the Pongal time, there is a day for Thiruvalluvar Day, and we celebrate Thiruvalluvar Day there. Competitions will be held in the colleges and schools to commemorate Thiruvalluvar, to pay a tribute to Thiruvalluvar, and also to remember that such a great legend lived among us. So in Tamil Nadu, we each and every, there will be, this Tirukkural will be like a scripture being preserved in each and every home. We will have it. And each and every child will know about at least one couplet of Thiruvalluvar. So the first chapter is about prayer to God, acknowledging Saraswati, Brahma, and everyone. So all the children will be going for Tirukkural recital competition, and we revere the Thiruvalluvar. We are so proud of Thiruvalluvar, and we are so proud that we are born and we still read and still we discuss, deliberate. We highlight Thiruvalluvar as the greatest legend who lived, and Thirukkural still we are holding as an open document for all the people now and for the posterity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janata, because this is such a revelation to us that there is a poet. If we talk of the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, they're also poetic, but that there are poets who have reached such great heights that they have impressed upon society. They are celebrated in our homes, because they actually guided us. These are not just poets. They have
Yes.
been great guides to us and through poetry. So it's something for us to learn, that we don't have to just write poetry, which is, constantly talking about our own emotions and how sad we are feeling and so on and so forth. But going forth, the legislators of the world, that's what Shelley said. And you have given us such an important, talk, because we didn't know about it, and the whole business of this forum is to know. We want to know about our poets, the songs of India.
Yes, but I
You know,
couldn't
we-
explain it in detail, ma'am. Very beautiful one. I will send a copy to you all with English
and I would have,
translation.
I would have liked you to also recite in Tamil, because so that we can get familiar with the language. Because I'm familiar with it. My father was in the Madras regiment. He
Yeah,
served in the
yeah.
Madras regiment, so I used to speak Tamil when I was a kid. But the thing is that we want to listen to the language also. So
Yeah,
thank
he
you
can
so
say.
much. We didn't know that there was such a great legendary poet. Whose celebration in every home. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
something
Bharatiyar,
fantastic,
Bharatiyar
isn't it?
too, ma'am. Bharatiyar
I mean,
too.
can we ever reach those heights, and not to know about them is a crime? Not to know about them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. It's an
Thank you, Janata ma'am. Thank you for talking
you,
about great.
Sanjay. Because you only invited me and commented me, you come, ma'am. Actually, today also one of my friends' husband died. Just received the message now, heart attack. And morning, our educational president, our college educational trustee president died. Went to the funeral and came. And not well. I am also having fever, high fever, not well. And thank you, Prasannaji, for giving this wonderful opportunity to meet Shalini, Didi, and Harinder, Cheema, ma'am, Rubali, ma'am, and also Santosh, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let us
If
move
you are
on.
Shalini, ma'am.
And now I take the pleasure of inviting Dr. Shalini, ma'am. Before that, let me introduce Professor Shalini Yadav is a poet, writer, editor, humanitarian, and ambassador. Professor has taught in India, Libya, Saudi Arabia, and is a well-researcher as well. Dr. Shalini Yadav has authored and edited 11 books, and she is a recipient of the Savitri Bai Phule Excellence Award to 2023 and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award 2023. We look forward to hearing Dr. Yadav, Shalini Yadav tell us of Sahitya Academy awardee, poet, scholar, playwright, translator, philologist, and folk lyricist, the renowned Indian English writer A.L. Ramanujan. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Prasanna. First of all, I would like to say thanks to Rupali ma'am and Prasanna bhai for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to be here with all of you. And secondly, I would say that I feel now I have started feeling nervous because all my three fellow poets have given wonderful you can say it is really very difficult to speak about a poet within 15 minutes, and they have done justice in such a great way. So I'm feeling a little nervous now what to say. Okay, as Prasanna has said that I'm going to speak about A.K. Ramanujan. So today I have chosen this poet, Indian poet, erudite scholar, who is erudite scholar, linguist, philologist, folklorist, translator, and playwright. He is professor of linguistics and Sahitya Academy Award winner also, and his Padma Shri Award winner also, Atipat Krishna Swami Ramanujan. His area of work included major five languages, English, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, and Sanskrit. And in his works, he gave their credit to non-standard dialects also, just not these main specific languages. And he used modern and classical, both kind of literature alternatively. So now I would like to give I would like to tell about the background and the life of him. He was born in Mysore city on 16 March 1929, and he was son of Atipat Asuri Krishna Swami, who was an astrologer and professor of mathematics at Mysore University. And he was known for his interest in English, Kannada, and Sanskrit, three languages. So you can see that there was an environment of trilingual at home, and he was brought up in that kind of environment, and his father's room was full of books in these three languages. So basically, naturally, he was skilled in these three languages, English, Kannada, and Sanskrit at home. His mother was a homemaker, but she was also a great scholar. Ramanujan was educated at Murray Mallappa High School, Mysore, and then after that he started doing his graduation in science stream. But his father, after one certain period of time, his father felt that he is losing focus in mathematics, and then he switched him towards English. And then he became a fellow at Deccan College, Pune, and from there he switched to Fulbright scholar at Indiana University, and there after that he did his PhD also in linguistics from Indiana University. As a professional, he started his career as a lecturer of English at Belgaum. Later, he taught at Maharaja Shivaji Rao University in Baroda for 8 years, and then after that, he joined University of Chicago as assistant professor. So now he started his career. He became immigrant and he went to US and he started his career over there. He was affiliated with the university throughout his career, and then he started teaching in many departments. He taught at many universities there, US universities, Harvard, Wisconsin, and Michigan, California, Carleton College. At many places he taught over there. And he was instrumental in shaping South Asian studies program over there. And you can say that he was quite well-read persona, and he was you can say the excellent academician also at the same time. So we can say that he started his career as a poet, and then he shifted towards literature, writing, and you can say teaching literature. And he started building the committee also, and that committee was on social thought. He worked in these departments of South Asian languages and civilization and linguistics, and he built up a social thought committee over there. And meanwhile, he was after his death, he was awarded Padma Shri. And he was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award in 1999 for the collected poem, for the collection of poems, the collected poems. His commendable theoretical and aesthetic contributions included various multidisciplinary areas and you can say fields. And there he included we have even in the introduction, I have said that he was a linguist, he was a scholar, he was a folklorist also, translator also. So he did lots of things together simultaneously. He translated works and he wrote plays, he wrote essays, he wrote folklores, and he translated folklores. And at the same time, he was a great teacher also. So translation, if you focus on translation, the interior landscape is still remembered as one of the great translation done by him. Hymns for the Drowning, Poems of Love and War. These are some translations done by him. Essays, 300 Ramayanas, which was written by him. That is one of the best essays. A Flowering Tree, A Woman's Tale, Syllables of Sky, Studies in South Indian Civilizations are some of his great essays. His major poetry collections includes 5 collections: The Striders, Relations, Selected Poems, Second Sight, and the Collected Poems. His poems also appear in many poetry anthologies. There are many, we cannot name them all within 15 minutes. So we can say that in half of his life, when he stayed in India, he was an English poet. But after that, he switched to USA. And before he was here, he started writing, he started doing translations. And those translations he did of classical Tamil poetry also. And later he did of Bhakti poetry also in Tamil and Kannada. So he did translations from both, from English to Tamil, from Tamil and Kannada to English, and that was mixed up. During the later half of his career, he compiled and translated folk tales from 20 languages. And he also wrote scholarly essays throwing light on several important aspects of Indian culture related to our language system, oral and written literary traditions. His translation of U.R. Ananta Murthy's Kannada novel Samskara. I suggest everybody to go through Samskara. It is a really wonderful novel. And that was first published in 1976 and was a milestone success, projecting to national and international fame. After his death in 1993, his papers, his all folk tales, essays, poems, those all were published in several volumes. Samskara, which was translated from Kannada to English. If you go through that book, that work, that is really awesome, and it will tell you that means the how to keep the essence of the originality of the original text when you're doing the translation. For his achievements, he was regarded with lots of respect by his peers and by his contemporaries. Even though he was he is called remote hero, remote icon, because he was not staying in India, he was staying in US, and he was writing about India. But at the same time, even though he was not in India, he was non-resident, still he was regarded and he was recognized by upcoming generations of Anglophone Indians. 5 decades have passed till now, but yet Ramanujan's translated work, The Interior Landscape, which is the first anthology of Sangam poetry, that is still marvelous and that is still read by people and researched by people on that. And India has changed, you can say, tremendously in these 5 decades and these 50 years on literary backdrop, if we talk about, or if we talk about intellectual or cultural fronts, or if we talk about in context of literary translations of works of Indian languages which are translated into English. It all has undertaken a substantial, you can say, alteration and modification yet, and many people are still doing it. Lots of modifications are still going on, new researches are going on, studies are going on, but still many young Indians, burgeoning writers, or burgeoning, you can say budding translators, they all still go for him. They still find him a torch bearer for them. They still find Ramanujan's name standing tall as a translator and as a poet. His works have been three-dimensional. If we categorize it, he was renowned as a modernist poet. He was renowned as a translator of classical and medieval text from Tamil and Kannada, and at the same time, he was a practitioner of translation enterprises. Modernist poetry, why we call his poetry as modernist poetry? Because Nakul Krishna, one of the writer who wrote in his magazine, Kava magazine, one essay he wrote about him, and there he called him modernist writer, modernist poet. How? Because he has some colonial background. He was educated in colonial period. Then after that, he migrated to US, and then he was you can say he had hyphenated identity. His identity was hyphenated between India and America, and that's why he had some touch of modernism also, and at the same time he had that original roots of India also in him. So that's why he was called modernist poet. And at the same time, because he was a product of colonial education, and that was reflected in his writings also. I will take some few examples here, two poems here of him. I have my inclination has been more towards translation, but Kamla Das and many other poets of that time, they were contradictory towards modernity. They did not like from within, but he accepted modernity, and at the same time he became more satirical and ironical towards Indian culture. He has depicted very minutely the culture and every small thing of India in his poetry, but at the same time that shows, because he went for ironical stuff, and he went for a criticizing thing. It doesn't mean that he did not like India. It means that he wanted improvement in the country. That's why his poetry was like that. Here, if we talk about his poetry and translation work, as I have already talked about that, many translators still they learn from him, and if they are not learning, it is an advice that go through his works. It is really you can say those people who are going for translation of feminist, Dalit or subaltern languages, so it will be really beneficial for them. And because it was his credo that when you are writing something or when you are translating something, translation must not jump off his own shadow, may not work in context where the source text originates from a contemporary setting, far removed from the translator's own, not conveniently from the remote past. So he says that he was very sensitive about Indian backdrop, and he treated various themes in his poetry. I would like to come back to poetry now. He he had vast area of themes to depict in his poetry. He talked about family relations, childhood memories, pastime, the search of self and roots, the Indianness through history, philosophy and culture, mythology, East and West encounter, transculturation, fear and pain, alienation to the feelings of love and cruelty. And also, he talked about death and darkness, the absurd and the anti heroic, the Middle Age and the theory of poetic creation. The different facets of human life have been focused upon with equal intensity of concentration in his poetry. Here, I would like to read one of his famous poem, Obituary, and this poem is about one child's father. The child is missing his father after the death of his father, and how the poem depicts about that. I quote here: Father, when he passed on, left dust on a table of papers, left debts and daughters, a bedwetting grandson named by the toss of a coin after him, a a house that leaned slowly through our growing, ears on a bent coconut tree in the yard. Being the burning type, he burned properly at the cremation as before, easily, and at both ends left his eye coins in the ashes that did not look one bit different. Several spinal discs, rough, some burned to coal for sons to pick gingerly and throw as the priest said, facing east, where three rivers met near the railway station, no long standing headstones with his full name and two dates. To hold in their parenthesis, I will not read the full. I will just go back to the last few stanzas of it. But someone told me he got 2 lines in an inside column of a Madras newspaper, sold by the kilo exactly 4 weeks later to street hawkers, who sell it in turn to the small groceries where I buy salt, coriander, and jaggery in newspaper cones that I usually read for fun and lately in the hope of finding these obituary lines. And he left us a changed mother and more than one annual ritual. So here his poetry has depicted human sentiments, feelings, emotions in a direct way without any kind of gloss or uh, sophisticated or ornamental language. There are no trace of alien influences in his poetry, that he is staying far away in another foreign land. He it is like it is very close to heart. It is coming out from heart, and it doesn't show that he's staying abroad. His poetry had that kind of technical excellence, and it bears the stamps of his individuality also at the same time. One more poem which depicts a lot about India, I would like to read here. A River. This is also one of the famous poem. Shall I cut it short? Shall I cut it short? Okay, few lines I will read, Prasanna. A river in Madurai, city of temple and poets who sang of cities and temples. Every summer, a river dries to a trickle in the sand, barring the sand ribs, straw and women's hair, clogging the water gates. At the rusty bars under the bridges with patches of repair all over them, the wet stones glistening like sleepy crocodiles, the dry ones, shaven water buffaloes lounging in the sun, the poet only sang of the floods. He was there for a day when they had the floods. People everywhere talked of the inches rising, of the precise number of cobbled steps run over the water rising on the bathing places, and the way it carried off 3 village houses, 1 pregnant woman, and a couple of cows named Gopi and Brinda as usual. The new poet still quoted the old poets, but no one spoke in verse of the pregnant woman drowned with perhaps twins in her, kicking at blank walls even before birth. So I did not complete the whole poem, but he loved to play with words, and very simple words he has used in the poetry, and those words have been taken from here and there. But at the same time, the poetry style is satirico-ironical, and amusing and entertaining also at the same time. And we can say it is not verbose, and it is quite crisp intense and casual. So I would like to say at the end, I must say that beginners and even the skilled one all should read his poetry so that we can refine ourselves more and more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shalini. That was such an extensive and talk on A.K. Ramanujan, who is well read because he is included in a lot of university textbooks. And one of the poems that I was very interesting that I had read was the love letter for love poem for a wife. It's called Love Poem for a Wife,
Yes, yes.
and yeah, if you have read that, then it's he used humor and satire a lot because it's not a love poem at all. It's a poem which criticizes the relationship, and it makes fun of his father-in-law and his father and so on and so forth. So A.K. Ramanujam had a very special way of writing, and and thank you so much, Anini, that you have talked about this great poet of India. And what I liked very much what you said was that when he critiqued India, he was not critiquing India. He was drawing attention to what should be corrected. And that is the job
Yes.
of the writer and the poet. When a poet fails in his duty, when he doesn't tell the world what has to be corrected. So thank you so much, Shalini.
Welcome, ma'am.
Oh, that
Prasanna,
brings us to the
you
end of
must be
this.
very happy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Songs of
that brings
India.
us to this, songs of India, poets talking about India. That's the takeaway is that, Ravi Harinder Cheema man very well highlighted the fact of the pathos that, that the poet has been experiencing. Shiv Kumar Betalvi and Santosh Bakaya is a poet was says or scientist, Sarva Sangha Parityagini, that is in the English. So it is in the form of Laleshwari Devi, Laleshwari Lal Dad, and Janata ma'am talked about Thiruvalluvar, very well venerated, respected, essays, a scholar, and Dr. Shalini, I observe the fact of this translation area. So of A.K. Ramanujan aspect. So if we could try to recapitulate, we could just have to, rewind and check the thing out. And I would love to do that. And thank you for, taking your time, Harinder Cheema ma'am, Dr. Shalini Yadav, Dr.
All of you, yes.
and Santosh
I mean,
Baka.
from Kashmir to Punjab to Tamil Nadu, to Chicago, to wonderful.
So poet
I
has
feel
no
very
boundaries,
satisfied.
and poet has no boundaries and no language. That is the highlight of this program. So that is
And the important thing is that we fulfill the objective of this program. I'm very particular about that we have an objective, and all of you have honored that objective so beautifully. And we are going back very learned, Prasanna and I. Thank you so much. God bless you.
absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. So see you, my dear friends. Maybe tentatively we have on November 2nd, we have the fifth episode. Maybe we'll be announcing. Thank you for tonight, and thank you. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.